everyone, welcome to Lizzie's Little Library and the Newbery Project. I'm reading each of the Newbery Medal winners in chronological order and noting any trends I see as the series progresses. Today's book is the 1956 winner called Carry On, Mr. Bowditch by Jean Lee Latham. This is inspired by a true story and it is historic fiction. When the story opens, we meet Nat, short for Nathaniel, who is 6 years old. His family is moving from Danvers back to Salem where he was born. The Revolutionary War is going on. Nat goes to school, and he's really good at math, to the point that his teacher thinks he cheated. His older brother, Hab, short for Habakkuk, joins a ship, and the war ends. Inflation plagues the town, and Nat has to stay out of school to help at Dad's cooper business. He's not very happy about this. Mom dies, then 2 years later, Granny dies as well. And it's suggested that Dad is a drunk, even though it doesn't say so specifically. Nat is not great at cooper work, so Dad has signed a contract for him of indentured servitude with a ship chandler for 9 years. He is planning that Nat will learn bookkeeping and be able to use some of his math skills for a good career. You know, so far, I don't hate this book. I don't typically like books about sailing because they use a lot of jargon that I don't really understand and I don't really care about. But this book's not bad. Mostly it is a quick read, and I don't want my books to be laborious to read. I want to enjoy them, especially when it comes to kids' books. I honestly think I should be able to finish a Newbery book in like 2 days. Possibly 1 day, no more than like 3 or 4. Anyway, Nat's indentured years pass somewhat quickly. He studies math and science the whole time, as well as Latin and French. He is offered a job as a surveyor, and then another job as a ship clerk, which he's assured is very similar to the bookkeeping he's been doing. Just before the ship is scheduled to depart, however, Nat learns the captain has lost his job. Nat secures a job on another ship. He sails to France and discovers a new way to measure placement with the moon. He then gets another job going to Manila. On both trips, he teaches the men to use the sextant and other devices. Throughout the trip, he keeps thinking of Elizabeth, a family friend. When he lands, she is with another man, David, and Nat bemoans the difference in their ages. She is 17 to Nat's 24, and really that doesn't seem too bad for the 18th century. But she refers to Nat as being like an older brother or father, and that's pretty much the kiss of death. Poor Nat. But she invites him to a corn husking, and everything seems to imply that David is going to propose. However, Nat opens an ear of red corn, and the tradition is that he has to kiss Elizabeth 12 times. He takes her to talk with her mom, and 2 paragraphs later, they've been married for months. This really could have been explained better. Give us like at least a paragraph. His next trip is to Spain. Napoleon has been up to shenanigans in Europe, and a man from Nat's town catches up with him and informs him Elizabeth is dead, but he doesn't have any details. Nat later learns that she died from consumption or tuberculosis. He makes another trip to the Philippines and teaches all the men on board to do lunar readings. There's a funny part in this voyage where one of the men asks for instruction in navigation. In exchange, he'll teach Nat to throw a knife and to sing serenades to women. Nat decides to write a book so everyone can learn to navigate. When he gets home, he learns both of his brothers have died at sea. Oh, what a sad story. He goes on another journey and comes home in the fog, arriving home on Christmas night. The end. This book, again, it was not terrible. It's a sailing book. The other sailing book that won the Newbery was the 3rd winner called The Dark Frigate, and that book was terrible. Between the sailing jargon and the Scottish accents, I could not understand what the people were saying even when it was written out. Plus, it was about pirates, which are just not really my cup of tea. But this one, it was like sailing plus math, and I like math, so that's good right there. A couple little passages that I thought were funny that I wanted to read here. So Nat has learned Latin specifically so he can read one of Isaac Newton's documents. And a guy named Mr. Geordie is offering to teach him French, again, so that he can do some reading. And it's really interesting how Nat teaches himself these languages. He does it by looking at the Bible in the two languages side by side. And he figures if he can read it in English and then he puts it next to the Latin, he can figure out word for word what it's trying to say. And somehow this works for him. It's unusual, but I guess that's what else are you going to do during the American Revolution? So this is from page 81. Frederick Geordie came in the shop. I hear you want to study French, Mr. Bowditch. Maybe we could trade lessons. You could help me with my English, and I'll help you with your French. He saw the New Testament. You're beginning already, eh? I've just looked at the first sentence, Nat said. But I already see two words that are just the same as in English, commencement and... Mr. Geordie clutched his head. No, that isn't the way to pronounce it. Why not? It's the way it's spelled. But you must learn to pronounce it in French, like this. And Mr. Geordie gave the word its French sound. Nat said, I don't see how you get that out of it. French pronunciation must be crazy. Not at all, Mr. Geordie insisted. It is English pronunciation that is crazy. Take 3 words, rough, cough, and dough. Excepting for their first letter, they are all spelled alike. But how were they pronounced? And I thought that was funny. It's certainly true. English is not the easiest language to learn. And I just thought that was a funny little example there that the author included. So, eventually Nat does learn how to pronounce words in French, and he is able to translate for the captain when they get to France. So that's good. It helps negotiate some of the trading. And then this is on page 198. And I thought this was funny too. He is talking with a guy named Lupe. And Lupe is one of the sailors who had offered to teach him knife throwing and how to sing serenades. And Nat believes that sailing and reading the moon and the stars and the sun and the sextant device and all this, he doesn't think that should be really specialized, that only 1 or 2 people can do it. He thinks, we have all of this time, why would I not teach the other men on the ship these same skills? So this is from page 198. Well, it's a start, Nat admitted. Addition and subtraction come first. Then you teach me? Or what else do you want to know about numbers? Lupe's smile faded again. Just add up, take off, senor. There is more? I cannot learn the navigation? Addition and subtraction. Let me think, Lupe. Nat took a turn on deck. If we had I can't pronounce this word. Logarithmic tables of all the trigonometric functions, you could work any problem in navigation with nothing but addition and subtraction. Log tables? I make them, Lupe promised, with the wood. And I thought that was funny again. It's, poking fun at the English language and, not only how our words pronounced, but how we can have 2 completely different definitions for the exact same word. So overall, this book was fine. He certainly would never have picked it out if it was not a Newbery winner, but I did like it. I wouldn't say it was the greatest book I've ever read, but it was a nice, quick-ish read. It was 251 pages, which is it's a really good length for a Newbery book. It was also written at a 4th grade reading level. I didn't do the exact figures, but I would guess late 4th grade, possibly even 5th grade. I don't know any students who would necessarily enjoy this book, just because it is a little old-fashioned, and there are so many other historic fiction books that I think are a better choice than this, which is not to say it's a bad book. There's just so many of them that I would pick one of my favorites. So there we are. It was cute enough. I liked it well enough. Again, it is inspired, very loosely inspired by actual fiction, or actual events. It's historic fiction. I think the author is a good writer, and I believe she has won a Newbery medal, a Newbery honor for something else. I'll have to look that up exactly. I did like her as an author. I was very impressed that she made a book about math and about sailing so interesting. So this was Carry On, Mr. Bowditch. I do recommend it, maybe not wholeheartedly, but I liked it. Hope you did too. Thanks for watching.